Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
Cramer is a winner. They know him. He's been representing you for a long time. He's got a substantial lead because everybody loves him. He's a very special guy, and he loves this state, and he loves the people.
That was President Donald Trump with Chris Berg before taking the stage at a fundraiser in Fargo to help U.S. Senate candidate Kevin Cramer.
Trump was only in Fargo for a few hours, but his visit was quite the scene inside and outside the Delta by Marriott Hotel. Valley News Team's Christine Stanwood has more on the commotion surrounding the president's visit.
An energetic and absolutely chaotic day here in Fargo outside the Delta by Marriott Hotel. 17th is now open after the president's trip to Fargo in support of Congressman Kevin Cramer and fundraising for his campaign. Now, to get inside, it was $1,000 per couple in order to get in. Price tag didn't scare you away?
No. We're very happy to support Mr. Cramer.
I think everyone is very, very happy to be here. And with that, there's going to be an incredible buzz. It's going to be excitement. Everyone is looking forward to seeing the president.
While we were out here, we saw protesters, we saw supporters alike just hoping to get a glimpse of the president. We were also there for the motorcade coming in and going outside of the hotel. Let me tell you, when they left, they were zipping by in order to get to the airport, headed to Sioux Falls. Reporting in Fargo, Christine Stanwood, Valley News Live.
The president spoke to supporters inside for about 45 minutes, touching on several talking points, including national security and the economy.
Before that speech, he took time to talk exclusively with Chris Berg, who joins us now in studio. Chris?
Thank you very much, Mike and Andrew. It was an incredible day to sit down with President Trump. A lot of breaking news stories. One of those specifically, this is the first time in these midterm elections that President Barack Obama has been out on the stump talking about these upcoming midterm elections. He took some veiled swipe at President Trump and his administration, so I asked him about that earlier today. Two, he suggested that you're using fear to divide America in order to hold power. Your reaction is what?
Well, I sort of watched that speech, and I must tell you, I sort of dozed off. I dozed off watching him. I've always sort of dozed off watching him.
The other breaking news, literally when he was on Air Force One on his way to North Dakota, he went down with the press pool back there in Air Force One and said, hey, I believe that the Attorney General Jeff Sessions and the DOJ should be investigating the person that drafted this anonymous New York Times op-ed piece. Many people are upset about that. I asked him about this in the context of Jeff Sessions. Also breaking news on Air Force One, you said, hey, Attorney General Jeff Sessions should investigate who wrote this anonymous op-ed to the New York Times.
Yeah, I think he should.
If he doesn't investigate it, will you fire Jeff Sessions finally?
Well, we're going to look and see what happens. I think it's a national security matter. They should look at it. They should look at it very strongly, and we should find out who it is.
Be sure and join me tonight on Point of View at 6:30 p.m. on KX4. In that interview, it's a 10-minute interview. We cover a ton of different topics. We talk more about the situation with the New York Times piece, of course, the trade war as well. And oh, by the way, there's a U.S. Senate race here in North Dakota that's pretty big as well. We get his thoughts on that. So join us then. Mike and Andrea, back to you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Senator Heidi Heitkamp responded to today's fundraiser in part by saying nothing is more emblematic of what's at stake in this race than the president escalating the trade war en route to $1 million closed-door fundraiser for Kevin Cramer.
There was a special moment for one person in attendance today who joined the president on stage. J.C. Butler was part of a small group that chatted with Trump. During the brief talk, Butler told the president how his administration had brought the coal industry back to life. He says he must have struck a chord with Trump because it led to the commander-in-chief calling him up on stage.
Complete disbelief. I had no idea that that was coming. I had no idea that that was even a possibility. And suddenly he starts talking about where's the coal guy in the audience. And the next thing I know, a Secret Service guy's got a hold of my arm and he's pulling me through the crowd up onto the stage.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime moment for Butler, who said this was the first time he had had the chance to see a sitting president in person.
Anti-Trump protesters made their way out to the Delta by Marriott Hotel this afternoon, calling their rally the Kava Nope protest in light of the president's nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, for Supreme Court Justice. Protesters we talked with today say they came out for many reasons. Some say they were fighting for Black Lives Matter and voicing concerns for the LGBTQ community, as well as calling for better treatment of refugees. However, most said they were there in a fight for women's rights, saying they worry about what the future holds for women with Kavanaugh and Trump in power.
With the attacks on women's rights and reproductive rights in particular, I feel like we're heading down a slippery slope.
If we're putting somebody on the Supreme Court for a lifetime appointment, someone who wasn't paying attention in sex ed, then we're making a grave mistake for the country.
About 40 to 50 protesters attended the anti-Trump rally this afternoon, saying they were happy with how many people were able to show up on a weekday during working hours.
A couple of hours before the president's arrival, Fargo police had a stretch of South University closed to traffic. A huge house was being moved in 2 sections near the Rose Creek Golf Course. The large pieces were weaved back and forth using both sides of University. Fargo police tell us normally for house moves they have a number of officers involved, but given the president's visit, they could only provide a few. They also say the plans for this house move were in place long before the president's visit became an issue.
When it gets to this time of year, a decent start to a weekend is a plus. Let's find out from Hutch what football fans can expect as they soak up the Friday night lights. Hutch?
Well, most of us are going to be fairly quiet. We see that from the Devil's Lake Basin through the southern Red River Valley into Lakes Country. That is indeed the case. In fact, sunny and pleasant conditions there, but showers and a few rumbles of thunder in northwest Minnesota, also in the eastern reaches of Walsh County, Minnesota. These showers are drifting to the south and east, but for the early hours, that's where the best chance of showers is going to remain. So Fargo stays dry with low 60s by bedtime tonight. Southeast winds and low 60s, just a few more clouds in Grand Forks. I'll have details on how that weekend is shaping up, and we'll have a look ahead into next week here in a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
One man is behind bars tonight accused of breaking into a Glendon home and sexually assaulting a 4-year-old girl. 26-year-old Dakota Moran is charged with attempted burglary and criminal sexual assault. Police say Moran broke inside a home around 1 o'clock this morning. Bobby Baskerville says that she knew of Moran, but says he'd never been in her mobile home before. She says Moran walked into the living room and allegedly molested her daughter, who was sleeping on the couch. She says Moran was inside the home for about 30 minutes before the father chased him out.
Came into my house, and when my kids are sleeping on the couch, and he came in and he assaulted my daughter.
Glendon police caught up with Moran about 6 hours later and arrested him. Baskerville told us that her daughter is doing okay.
A former UND student who was arrested for selling drugs out of her dorm room will avoid additional jail time. 19-year-old Kelly Garrison pleaded guilty to a felony charge of possession of LSD with the intent to sell. Garrison was sentenced to 2 years of probation and 250 hours of community service as part of a plea deal. In April, the Grand Forks Narcotics Task Force served a search warrant at Smith Hall on campus regarding an investigation involving someone distributing drugs to students. The felony charge will be dropped from Garrison's record in 2 years if she successfully completes probation.
A daycare provider in South Fargo that's facing a child neglect charge won't have her license renewed. Court documents say Cass County Social Services was called for a welfare check at the home of Rochelle Ulmer on July 27th. Investigators say they found Ulmer outside with a child, stumbling, slurring her words, and smelling strongly of alcohol. At the time, she was responsible for 9 children between the ages of 1 and 8. Officials report that her daycare license had expired and she had applied for renewal. That application was denied.
A warrant has been issued for a man after a burglary in northern Minnesota. The victim identified the suspect as 33-year-old Todd Bergerson of Fosston. According to the Polk County Sheriff's Department, deputies were dispatched early Wednesday morning on a call to a burglary at a home in rural Lengby. Authorities learned that a male had entered the residence and then fled shortly after. They searched the area for Bergerson but couldn't find him. Anyone with information can call the sheriff's office at 218-281-0431.
A North Dakota man is behind bars after allegedly robbing a Jamestown gas station. Police say 34-year-old Travis Alcock of Valley City was arrested in Clay County, Minnesota this morning. A clerk at the Super Pumper told authorities that Alcock entered the store Wednesday, displayed a weapon, and fled with an undisclosed amount of money. The clerk was not hurt, and formal charges have yet to be filed.
It's time to take a look at this week's Valley's Most Wanted. Jermaine Ellington is wanted in Cass County for interfering with an emergency phone call, offering to hire someone to engage in sexual activities, and giving false information to police. You can call your local law enforcement if you have any information on Ellington. Later on Valley News Live at 6, she's a star who needs only one name, and she's coming to the Twin Cities for a concert.
Up next, it's a scam we've told you about before. Which law enforcement agency is being targeted this time?
You're watching Valley News Live on TV, online, and on the go. Always on, wherever you are, whenever you need to know. Valley News Live. You're watching Valley News Live on KVLY, your hometown NBC station.
Conlon's unbelievable Labor Day sale has been extended. Save 31% or more store-wide. Plus, ask about available 60-month special financing. This is your chance to save 31% or more during Conlon's huge Labor Day sale. Don't miss it.
The future of medicine has arrived and is being practiced today at the Center for Pain Medicine. Regenerative injection therapy uses your stem cells and growth factors to repair damaged tissue, cartilage, tendons, ligaments, and even bone.
My knee was deteriorating and hurt every single day. One regenerative injection and I was pain-free, playing volleyball in 30 days.
Call and make an appointment today. No referral needed.
I worked hard for 39 years, 18 driving heavy trucks. When I first saw Sherry in high school, I told my buddy, that's my wife. We can't afford to lose my pension. I have 2 crushed discs, my shoulders are shot, but the government was gonna cut our benefits in half. Heidi's fought like hell for 2,000 of us North Dakota retirees. Kevin Kramer did practically nothing.
I'm Heidi Heitkamp, and I approve this message for everyone who worked this hard.
Have a great day.
You ready, babe?
Yep.
How do you become America's best-selling brand?
Go, go, go! We've got room.
You make it for those who are running a bit late, run into a little trouble, or might just be running low.
Alexa, tell Starbucks to start my usual order.
So that the morning routine stays routine. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand.
Conlon's unbelievable Labor Day sale has been extended. Save 31% or more store-wide. Plus, ask about available 60-month special financing. This is your chance to save 31% or more during Conlon's huge Labor Day sale. Don't miss it.
Beautiful, energy efficient, and easy cleaning replacement windows. Windows Plus.
In tonight's schemes and ripoffs, scammers are targeting people in Barnes County, North Dakota. The sheriff's office there reports their phone number is being used in the popular jury duty scam. The caller claims to be a deputy with the Barnes County Sheriff's Office and says the person missed jury duty and now must pay certain fees or an arrest warrant will be issued for them. One resident says they were told to go to the local Family Dollar store to buy a Visa gift card, saying they had to pay in cash. The sheriff's office says they will not call residents and demand any type of payment, and if you have questions, you should call them.
Several people were injured in an early morning fire in a Bismarck mobile home. Firefighters there said that a woman and 3 children who were also in the home were okay. Investigators say that the fire started with a burning container of grease. It's been ruled accidental. A pet cat did die in that fire.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, a big fundraiser is slated for tomorrow night at the Air Museum, in part to honor a life-saving flight more than 3 decades ago.
And after a couple of soggy days, rainfall totals estimated by Doppler radar are between 2 and 3 inches along Highway 2 between Devil's Lake and Grand Forks. More showers for the north this evening. Your hour-by-hour forecast is coming up next.